You gotta take out the dragon by slaying the alchemical dragon. Only the act or product of conscientio, again, the coming together of opposites, can slay the doggone dragon, my knight, which is the light, which is why they call you black, destitute of light. Woo! The dragon slayer Cadmium embodies the fixing properties of sulfur. Remember this word? Remember Cadmium when it comes to the dragon. Remember Cadmium when it comes to the conscientio. When it comes to the slaying of the dragon, you need the Cadmium. He's the dragon slayer. Remember that name. Let's go. Let's go. We're talking the ether. Unconscious bursting into consciousness. Woo.
Spelled by science a century ago, returns now with mathematical proof, experimental validation, key to understanding everything. Chapter 8, Consciousness as Primal. Panpsychism, the philosophical view that consciousness is a fundamental feature of all matter, approaches this truth but does not go far enough. It is not that particles have tiny bits of consciousness. At what threshold does the mere arrangement of unconscious components suddenly... You have been told that matter is fundamental and consciousness is derivative, that brain produces mind, that awareness is an accident of evolution, a fortunate byproduct of increasing complexity. This is the great inversion, the foundational error of materialism. The truth is the opposite. Consciousness is primary, matter is secondary, and the entire physical universe is a manifestation of conscious intelligence operating through the ether. Consider the logical problem. If consciousness arises from unconscious matter, then at some point in the evolution of the universe, something that is not aware becomes aware.
That's the alchemical serpent. Something that is not aware becomes aware, right? And this is what slays the dragon, because it's the opposite. Who created our opposites and put our opposites against us? Who created the impersonal, the unconscious, that's bursting into conscious? Something that is not aware becomes aware. The robot, the AI, or these hijacks that stole our titles. The hijacks that stole our titles. The descendants, right? Yeah. Psalms 83, Confederacy.
Atoms are not conscious. Molecules are not conscious. At what threshold does the mere arrangement of unconscious components suddenly produce awareness? There is no answer, because the question itself is flawed. You cannot get consciousness from non-consciousness, just as you cannot get wetness from things that are not wet. Either consciousness is present from the beginning, inherent in the fundamental substance of reality, or it cannot exist at all. Panpsychism, the philosophical view that consciousness is a fundamental feature of all matter, approaches this truth but does not go far enough. It is not that particles have tiny bits of consciousness, it is that consciousness is the substance from which particles emerge. The ether is not matter that happens to be conscious. It is consciousness that, under certain conditions, manifests as matter. The hard problem of consciousness, articulated by philosopher David Chalmers, exposes the failure of materialism. Science can explain the easy problems, how the brain processes information, how neurons fire, how sensory input becomes motor output. But it cannot explain why there is subjective experience at all, why there is something it is like to be you, why awareness has a felt quality. No amount of physical description bridges the gap between objective processes and subjective experience. This gap is not a temporary lack of knowledge, it is evidence that the premise is wrong. Materialism fails because it attempts to derive the primary from the secondary, the fundamental from the derivative. It is like trying to explain light in terms of darkness, or silence in terms of sound. Consciousness cannot be explained by matter because matter is an appearance within consciousness. Your experience is not an image of an external world, it is the world as it appears to you, and that appearance occurs within awareness, not...
And we say that we are the awareness community, not just conscious community. You could be conscious and still be getting hit upside your head, but you're barely conscious. But when you're aware, that's when you can start dodging and ducking and slipping in punches and throwing off counters and combinations, and you know what I'm saying? That's when you can fight back. We just talking to Ether, man. Love to my jig. I had to do it for you, man. Five Eyes Ma. Go dig on all the new slaps. We're going to start featuring all the new music from Five Eyes, MHOE, Five Eyes Ma. Hey, and go dig on MHOE.clothing to see my jigger's designs, man. We're coming in hot. We talking to Ether. And I appreciate y'all for flying air ether with a con. We in cruising altitude as we make our dismount. And we're talking to Ether. Hey, love to the Ether squad. All the, great teachers, man. You know what I'm saying? Educators that drop directly and live at 432thedrop.com, man. All my cons, man. And just look out for us. We talking the true awakening. You don't get no awakening without the wow. The HaWah conning. The awakening is the HaWah. Ken is con. And the I or the NG, right? The NG is the Naga. So we got the awakening, the breath security of the Khan, the priesthood of the Negus, man. Hey, I'll leave this link. I see we're going to get cozy with this one. I like this one, man. Hey, Flat Drop 101, love the vibes of the cosmos. Let's go. Now, are we just talking a reflection? Is the moon a reflection plasma map, man? You know what I mean? I just want to, I just want to peep vibes for a minute, man. Are we just talking a map, I just want to keep this theory as we investigate in play, because we're just talking in investigation. And is the moon just a map of all the lands? Right? Is the moon just a map of all the lands? Are we getting mappy? HaWah. So, we're going to keep this theory prominent, man, that when you look at the moon, you are seeing evidence of the world mapped by the plasma moon. And y'all go dig on Vibes of Cosmos for more. You got people talking dragons. Somebody left this link, man. Shout out to the cons that did. They said get some babies out of it. We know it's a bunch of hijack, but get some babies out. So, this is, we'll get a few seconds and see what she's talking about. Inspiracy. All right, man. I'll leave the link, but shout out to her. She's talking to Khan. Let's go.
They weren't just symbols. They weren't just stories. The dragons were real. They were the living guardians of Earth's first systems, keepers of sound, light, memory, and power. Some flew, some didn't. Some were made of flesh, others of flame and frequency. They weren't just beasts. They were sentient bloodlines, older than humans, older than history. They guarded the gates, protected the timelines, woke the sun, spoke in tones that shaped the land. And then they were hunted by priests, kings, parasitic bloodlines, and false gods. Turned into demons, monsters, enemies, killed, bound, buried in legend.
Like the Dragon Slayer, right? Like the Dragon Slayer. The Dragon Slayer.
Now to a News Nation exclusive investigation into a secret government experiment that was carried out in St. Louis. Residents tell us they still remember a mysterious fog. Children would run through it. Mothers would try and close their windows against it. For decades, they all had questions, and now we're seeking answers. The United States Army now admits that it sprayed a chemical that contained cadmium. And
Cadmium, my noggin. Why would they spray cadmium? What does cadmium have to do with CADMUS? What does cadmium have to do with the alchemical serpent and the act of consciential? What does cadmium, C-A-D, have to do with the dragon slayer, slaying the alchemical dragon? What does it have to do with CADMUS? embodies the fixing properties of sulfur, right? What did they spray on my noggins? Cadmium, thick fog of sulfur and whatever that can do to stop the process represented by the dragon.